contrary to the popular idea of our times, Dara was by no means a liberal, neither was he a promoter of interfaith harmony as we understand these concepts or these terms, liberal and interfaith harmony, these two terms. The way we understand these concepts today, Dara was neither of them. Dara was not a liberal person. He did not advocate liberalism, and he did not promote interfaith harmony the way some champion of interfaith harmony would practice the concept today in our times. And like some other Muslim individuals of his own era, Dara was intrigued by Hinduism, and he had the leisure, of course. He was not as busy as his other, three brothers, and also not his father, Shah-Jahan, when he was a young man. He had to busy himself with the work of the governor of provinces, and he also led many campaigns. He got involved in the War of Succession, which kept him busy. So, unlike many other Mughal princes, Dara had the scope, the time to indulge in matters of theology and mysticism and satisfy his intrigues regarding Hinduism. And this is a very important thing. Dara Shikoh never renounced Islam when he was engaging with Hindu yogis or sannyasis, when he was when he had commissioned the Vedanta, the Upanishads, to be translated into Persian. He engaged with the ideas that were contained in the Vedanta, but he never renounced his faith in Islam. He was a professed Muslim, a Sufi Muslim, and he always introduced himself as a Hanafi, which is a very prominent Sunni Muslim sect, most prominently present in the Indian subcontinent. And also he presented himself as a disciple of the Qadiri sect of the Sufis. Dara had been seeking to arrive at a universal font of Tawhid. Tawhid is the Islamic concept of monotheism. Okay, the concept of monotheism is present in different religions of the world, but most specifically, it is the Islamic concept of monotheism or Tawhid, which Dara was trying to find out in other religions. And he wanted to promote the idea of this monotheism, this very distinctly Islamic concept of monotheism or Tawhid, among the learned people. And his hope was that if learned people had, come to respect this concept of Tawhid, then other people, the commoners, will also in time follow it. And it was mainly with this goal that he was trying to find out the reflection of the Islamic concept of monotheism or Tawhid in the other religions. Looking at Dara's character, if we look at the evaluations from different historiographical accounts, this one is from Sir Jodunath Sarkar, and I quote, "Aurangzeb in later life spoke of Dara as a proud, insolent to the nobles and ungovernable in temper and speech." But you can, very legitimately ask that Aurangzeb was Dara's mortal enemy, and therefore why should we depend on a testimony of this sort, which comes from Aurangzeb? So you can also look at the testimony from other people, and especially, good men, people who were considered to be loyal officers to the throne. And this particular quote helps you understand that. I quote, "The detailed account of his siege of Kandahar, when Dara was sent to this campaign of Kandahar, written by an admirer." This particular person who's writing this account was really an admirer of Dara and was very loyal to the throne, to the emperor. The detailed account of his siege of Kandahar, written by an admirer, shows him in the odious light of an incompetent braggart, almost insane with conceit, capricious and childish in the management of affairs. So he likes flattery, and he likes to naturally boast about his non-existent powers and glory. So this is the kind of picture that we get of Dara Shikoh as a person, as a military commander, as a leader. And if you look at the times of crisis, then Dara's character comes out even more vividly. Because then we get to see the kind of reactions Dara had, the kind of actions Dara took in order to deal with the exigencies of those serious problems at his hand. And that sort of situation arose with the aging emperor Shah-Jahan falling ill. He fell seriously ill sometime in the later part of 1657, as I was saying. And here is a quote from Supriya Gandhi's work. I quote it in full. In an attempt to quell hearsay and speculation about the emperor's possible death, Dara blocked most courtiers from all access to the emperor or his news, also detaining his brother's agents at court. Dara ordered for Mir Abu al-Hassan, Shuja's representative, one of the representatives of his brothers, to be shackled and pilloried, and even threatened to rend the man's limbs. Such acts, Gandhi goes on to say, planted in the kingdom's soil the seed of fasad, a word connoting corruption, sedition, and chaos, a threat to the state and to order. So Sophia Gandhi has translated and quoted some accounts written by people who had experienced that particular time of Shah Jahan's illness and the problem that arose in the wake of it. I think this particular account is from somebody called Masu. So this is the kind of action that completely berserk. He had gone completely berserk, and he was at his wits' end, and therefore he was taking these rash actions, stopping courtiers to visit from visiting the emperor, and stopping his brother's agents from gaining news of the emperor's health, which easily, which easily created the impression that the emperor was perhaps dead, and therefore Dara Shikoh was ruling in his name, in his stead, and he did not want that news to spill out. He was simply taking his time, biding his time to prepare the situation for his ascendance to the throne. This one also is very, telling of Dara's character. Again, from History of Aurangzeb, Volume 1, written by Sir Jagnath Sarkar. And I quote this: Dara was a loving husband, a doting father, and a devoted son. All those things that are of historical interest. But as a ruler of men in troubled times, he must have been a failure. Long continued prosperity had unnerved his character and made him incapable of planning wisely, daring boldly, and achieving strenuously, or if need were, of wresting victory from the jaws of defeat by desperate effort or heroic endurance. The darling of the court was utterly out of his element in the camp. The center of a circle of flattering nobles and ministers, knew not how to make a number of generals obey one's masterly will, and act in harmony and concert. Military organization and tactical combination were beyond his power, beyond Dara's power. And he had never learned by practice how to guide the varying tides of a battle with the coolness and judgment of a true general. This novice in the art of war was destined to meet a practiced veteran as his rival for the throne, which he did.